So you've got outtakes.
Outtakes लेके आया मैं. Okay. We good ना? अगर किसी ने कैमरा के अंदर घूर के देखा तो मेरे को लगेगा कि nothing is good.
नहीं सही है.
Okay, great. चलो. Hello and welcome to Off the Record by MySmartPrice. Today I have a really interesting personality with me. He's one of the journalists who I would like to attribute कि he brought consumer tech to India when it comes to just publication stuff. But then he made a U-turn and turned to the brand side. He's none other than Savio D'Souza. How's it going, boss?
All good, Shubham. Thank you so much. A little bit too much saying that I brought tech into India.
होता ही है यार.
But yeah, I mean, I've been associated with tech for quite a while. So I wouldn't say I bought tech. I was one of the few lucky people to actually have the opportunity to see tech when it actually, blew up, when the internet came and, pre-Google, after Google. So yeah, that's where it is. It's been very fortunate to work with people who are at the cutting edge of tech right from the very beginning.
Would it be safe to consider कि अगर मैं आपको वो evolution वाली एक फोटो नहीं होती है कि Neanderthal है left side में, right side में modern man है, you have seen all stages of computers that way.
I wouldn't go so far back as Neanderthal, but yeah, I think so. Even if you were born in the 80s, it's hard to basically dodge technology, right? Technology is always there. It's different, but yeah, it's always there. Seeing the advent of digital cameras, MP3 players and stuff, and everything is just growing. Right, it gets better, and it's hard to say basically what's going to come next.
How was it growing up? Were you like more of a jock kid, or were you a nerd, or were you the guy who was popular among the ladies? How did that go?
Ladies, no. I went to an all-boys school, so that didn't happen. College में I was a brooding type, right? पैसे नहीं होते थे, तो brooding ही होता था. Growing up, I think so. At that point in time, it was go out, play. So not jock, but I played football and. Running 24/7. सुबह को मतलब hockey practice, दोपहर को मतलब you play football and things like that. So that was happening. I think I was a fairly average student for the most part. Subjects I was interested, those were great. Chemistry में डब्बा. Right, chemistry में
That's such a Mumbai thing to say.
No, it was like because for me the things you can identify, like you can see and then you can actually make sense of it. To my brain at that point in time. कि atoms किसने देखा है कैसे बोल सकते हो ये है how can you see this, so it was that of course, but chemistry was something for me I couldn't do formulaic work. That was my big problem. कि किसी ने formula दे दिया and said try this out and this is how it works. For me I had to know कि ये ऐसा क्यों है. Right, I think so that was basically what set me off on the path that I went to later on, right? So someone shows you a technology and I'm like no I want to know how this works. So I think so that is what...
It reflects a lot in the way you speak also. I remember like I have attended OPPO briefings religiously for the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Every single time you meet me, you tell me stuff that sometimes blows my mind. And then I ask other people also from your team, वो भी यही बोलते हैं कि कभी-कभी ऐसा लगता है कि यार encyclopedia बैठा है साथ में.
No, it's... I think so just an interest, right? It's an interest about things that are happening in a certain way and then I want to know how exactly. So it's just that thought process that okay, this is what is possible, how do these guys do this? So that's where exactly deep diving into it, it's an interest.
So you grew up in Mumbai, is it?
Right.
You have a bit of Portuguese heritage in you.
There's part of the family that speaks Portuguese extensively. There's family that is actually in Portugal. I am very much Indian.
Konkani wala tha?
No, I don't. I can understand. I wouldn't want to embarrass myself and the family by attempting it on camera. But no, I'd rather not. But no, so actually more than Goa, I think so. What people identify, and it's happened like very recently. I think people identify me more as a Bandra boy. I don't know what that is.
I know what that is. It's very close to a Goa boy, by the way. The way the words are accentuated, very similar.
I think so. Maybe that's what it is. But people will come and say, "Oh, you're a Bandra boy," and I'm like, "How do you know?" Right? It doesn't. It's not apparent to me. I think I'm fairly
universal. You can't hear yourself. I mean, obviously you can hear yourself.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I actually have a gift for you though, because you are away from Mumbai and so I thought of bringing a little bit of Goa with me to you. Like छोटा सा मसाला है, रेची आर्ट मसाला.
Oh, thank you so
much. Try
much.
it out. It's not sponsored by Costa Foods. No, it's actually Just
I'll definitely try.
Just a little small token that you would like to remember
try out.
me as.
Yeah, I'm not a very good cook. My cooking is exactly the way I do everything else, right? Experimentation. You take stuff, put it in the pan, says, oh, I need more color.
Thoda aur lal mirchi chala
that
gaya.
kind of stuff. But thank you so much.
No problem, no problem.
Yeah.
So I also hear that you are a man of a lot of interests. So photography is one?
I definitely, since I'm in this line, I definitely dabble in photography.
Painting?
I sketch.
You sketch?
I do a lot of sketching. Not many people might know this, but I actually started off as a designer. So, website design and stuff. My whole thing was basically Photoshop and getting, so I've designed basically, graphics, covers and things like this. The people I worked with were like really fantastic. Like one of our colleagues I had was GV Shri Kumar, who teaches design basically in IIT. One of his students, Uday, whom I worked with for a while, Uday, he's the guy who designed the rupee symbol.
Oh.
Right? So he's a professor of design in IIT Guwahati. Last I know he was there. I don't know where he is right now. So, but yeah, started off in design and stuff. That's where the interest in computing and stuff. So sketching, of course, I do that on the weekends. And
music? Is music something?
Music is something that is, I think so. If there's one thing that hasn't left me is music.
Do you play the guitar?
I kind
Come
of.
on, I mean that's a yes.
No, I don't play the guitar. That's another thing, right? It's another like you're from Bandra and you're from Goa. Then why don't you play guitar?
Goa
right?
se मच्छी नहीं खाते.
Yeah, I think so. I blame Amol Palekar for that, right? In his old movies, कि अगर Christian है, you have to have a French beard and you have to play guitar.
Mumbai se
yeah. So that kind of stuff, right? But I think so. Not all of us play guitars.
If I had to make you rank the following 6 guitarists on the basis of greatness according to you, so Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, Prince / David Gilmour.
Hendrix, I know people say he's really good. He could play guitars with his thumb. He uses his thumb as well, just not the 4 fingers. My personal favorite, I would say, is Clapton, because that man can actually do chords on, at any place on the fretboard. Gilmour, who doesn't like David Gilmour? Maybe people don't, but Pink Floyd, very instrumental in basically just me picking up, that prog, that kind of music. Prince is really good. Prince, I think so it would be a disservice to call him a guitarist. He's a multi-instrumentalist. Jimmy Page, of course, if you want to put Jimmy Page in
so
there.
Now we are just changing the list.
We are changing the list. You're asking me, so I'm saying Jimmy Page.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. अभी एक बात बताओ, do you ever have this feeling of juvenile paranoia? जो next generation है, कुछ नहीं पता है.
I think so. Every generation believes that ours was the last best generation. No, everyone believes that, right? It's like करके ये क्या कर रहा है? I think so, but over the years, I've kind of stepped back a little bit. I think so. The requirements from life are different, right? What people want from life is different, and I think so. It's up to everyone to set up their own priorities. When I was writing, for instance, when I started writing, we didn't have access to the internet, so we spent more time researching before we actually even put our first word down.
And remembering. Right?
And doing that. Now, is it necessary for someone to do that right now? Probably not. Right? So, they're using technology to how it works for them. I think, everyone has that. You ask anybody, they'll say, I think my generation was the best. But when you step back a bit, you think, nahi, theek hi hai. Everyone's doing their own stuff, right?
Yeah. How old were you when you got your first leadership role?
23.
What?
Yeah. So, I was 23. I was 23 when I got my first leadership role.
And this was where?
This was at the Jasubai group, Chip.
Right.
So it happened quite by accident. I think so. People had to. वो होता है ना करके कि who died to make this man king.
अच्छा ऐसा वाला scene.
So it was that करके कि कोई लुढ़का तो नहीं. But
I got the point.
Yeah. But the whole thing was I had joined there and they were doing this magazine on internet. At that point, a Chip special on all about internet. And I think so that it was in the nascent stages, right? 98. And I think so the guy who was heading it, I was supposed to, they found out that magazine is not working, and I just joined from a web development company to Jasubai.
Right.
So they asked me, can you write? And I had never written. So they said, can you write? And I said, I don't know. Says, what do I have to write? Says, write about how you design a web page. I said, that I can do. They said, you need to give me around 2,000 words on this stuff. And I was like, okay, I've never done. Now, for a person who's never written, getting an understanding of what 2000 words is completely different, right? I'm thinking 2000 ho jayega, right? And I said, by when do you want it? And they said, by day after tomorrow.
Acha.
And I thought,
and this is the era without the internet.
Yeah, and I'm doing this mental math in my head कि अगर 2000 words चाहिए तो दिन का 600 word लिखना पड़ेगा तो मतलब हो जाएगा. I finally got it done, pushed and all that kind of stuff. I got around like 1800 words down. उससे ज़्यादा हो नहीं सका. And then I went and told the editor. He came and asked me, showed it to him, and he was like, कर भी दिया? And I was like, yeah, it's done, but it's not what you wanted. And he read it, and he was like, you know, he called someone into the room and he said, listen, he's written this, check it and let me know what you think. And that guy read, but he said, yeah, it's all good, this stuff, and you just make a few changes here and there. And he says, how would you like to move from the design team to basically helming this? And I was like, I have no idea. He says, nahin, hum log hai. That was one of the many lies he told me from the very first day, because koi nahi tha. I think so being thrown into the deep end helped a lot in the long run. He was there. I'm kidding when I say he was, like, people were not there. There were a lot of people there, lots of good friends who actually pitched in and things like this. But yeah, my first leadership role was 23. Then he came and said, you have a team of 5 people and now you do chip specials. That's your thing. And then after that he said, chip specials you've done this, now we'll do computer gaming world. Can you do it? And I was like, okay.
So this was Score, is it? No, acha, computer gaming.
Yeah, and then after computer gaming world, immediately we did that, and he said, let's get Score out. After 2 years of I moved out of computer, did Score, computer arts, and yeah, so all these magazines.
We got a little swayed away. I also wanted to ask you another question. If there was this one thing that you would have wanted to talk to that 23-year-old Savio D'Souza, who had just taken up the leadership role at Chip, what would you say to him? Given the fact that you have seen quite a lot of life after that.
हो जाएगा.
Tension
नहीं, हो जाएगा.
Okay, so now let's talk about OPPO India. What exactly does your day look like when a product has not launched? उसके ऊपर आएंगे अभी थोड़ी देर में. But what is a typical day for you?
I think so. The thing, it's a good question actually, and I've been asked this before. To me, in terms of function, I don't see much of a difference. Okay, I just think it's because what you're doing as a journalist is you're passing on information. You're journaling and sending out information, right? And here, as in communication, they're doing the same thing. So I look at it as a nice long line of communication. As a journalist, I was closer to the audience. Here in this role, I'm closer to the brand, right? So what I think works for me is basically I get to ask the questions that I can pass on to someone who is writing about it, right? So I know if I was writing something as a journalist, this is what I'd want to know. Now, because I'm in this position, I can actually ask people, let me know, so I can pass that on.
थोड़ा सा role reversal हो गया.
So yeah, it's in the line of communication, right? It's basically I'm closer to the brand now. Then I was closer to the people, but I look at it as a very linear function. I've moved on that line, right? I won't say I've moved higher or I've moved lower on the line. It's a very lateral line. It's basically messaging.
Now, do you believe in the fact that you should be using what you sell?
Most definitely.
Do you use OPPO phones?
Of course I use OPPO phones.
What OPPO phones are you currently
using? What OPPO phones am I using? Actually, I get to use all the phones, and that's one of the perks of my job.
Show it to the camera.
So, yeah,
show your collection.
My collection of phones. So actually, this is a new Reno 13 device, and this one is with the most, with our own exclusive to India design. So yeah, I mean, this is one of the devices. This is what I carry on the regular. This is the Find X8, and I have an older device that I've been using for now ever since I've joined OPPO, is the Find X3.
This wasn't launched in India, is it?
This one, I think so, it was before my time, so I'm not really sure, but I still use OPPO devices. It's a great looking device, don't you think?
Yeah.
Right? You should say that on the cam. You think it's a great looking device, right?
It is. I can actually take a look at myself.
Yeah, so it's fantastic, right? It's a great looking device. You want to look at this one and also say it's a great looking device?
I have used it extensively.
And what do you think about it? You want to say it's a great looking device on the camera?
It's a great looking device on the camera, and the camera of it is really good. Especially when we go to that super zoom feature, right?
Right.
The images are insanely clear.
Yeah,
I show it to every single one of my friends, and they are like,
no, like
there's no way.
Yeah, like to answer your question in a more serious way, right? I think so for me, a lot of the stuff that I'm using, and I'm lucky because I get to access a lot of it. It has, like you're saying, which you asked me earlier also, let's just go back to that. younger generation, how do they use technology as opposed to you had to do research and stuff, right? Am I guilty of doing that right now? I am. Right? I use the AI tools on this device. It's a lifesaver.
So you're more of a Gen Z than a Gen Z?
I don't know about these things, yeah. I mean, these are labels, right? And I don't think so. I don't know what these mean.
And just to get the lineup straight, so you start with the A series, which is like the budget.
Yes.
You have the F series.
Correct.
Which is durability / just sub-mid.
Everything is durable. Right?
Everything is durable.
Everything is durable. So
मतलब फेंक के मारोगे तो वो चलता है.
See, I'll tell you what. No, this is another thing that I फेंक के मारो करके. You know, I think when we're talking about durability, I think what the brand is looking from a standpoint of durability is quite different from basically slapstick durability.
Right.
What you're talking about is slapstick durability. That I will take a phone and throw it.
You're talking about functional durability.
I'm talking about very functional durability. We make sure that the devices under normal working conditions is built, you know, more than adequately to take your life, you know, to make sure that it is actually reliable, right? We are not asking you to put it in boiling water. No one does that.
पर आपने बोला था, ठीक है, F series के अंदर तो
I have not said it.
मैंने washer के अंदर भी डाला हुआ है.
So I think so. Some people want to push the boundaries of what it is, right?
And why not, right? Like it's a phone designed to do that.
Yeah, but so for me, it's more like a functional thing. Like for me, you know, it's so this like for instance like this phone, right? I've been using it for 4 years. Okay, it still looks like new.
True that, yeah.
Right? Because I treat it with respect. Now, is it durable? Yes, it is. If I treat it with respect, like anything, you know, people say phones durable hai and all that kind of stuff, and then their first reaction is to throw it. Right? ये कौन सी बात हो गई? So why do you do to the phones? We've built a phone to make it last. We built a phone so that if you're in case you're in the rain, you know it's going to survive that. In case by mistake, maybe you're not doing it, right? And it's okay for a child. It's forgivable if a child drops the phone.
Yeah, children tend to do that.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you're a grown up and you're doing this, then मतलब थोड़ा
बच्चा होता है. ठीक है. So you have the A series, you have the F series.
All are durable, by the way.
All are durable, yes. By the way. Then we move up to the Reno series, which is the mid-premium kind of offering from you.
Right.
More focused towards AI cameras. And then you have the top of the line, high stakes, Find X series.
Yes.
I have a really big bone to pick with you.
Okay.
Where is the Find Flip series? It was the finest phone I used in 2023, and I go by a mile to say it on record because the screen was durable. It never started making a noise, creaking, nothing. The cameras are insane. The battery life could go on for a day or a day and a half as a flip phone, and I just don't understand it. Why didn't you bring it again?
So first of all, thank you so much for saying all the things that we said when we were communicating how good the damn device is. So yes, that message landed, and the proof of the pie was in the eating. So you experienced that as well, right? But that brings us back to basically what OPPO India really is, right? OPPO India makes devices that people want, right? So it's, I mean, you as a reviewer get all these devices and stuff, right? So that's a luxury we have in this room, right? I get to see everything, you get to see everything. There's something that you know, there's push technology, and there's something that is a very articulated need, right? And for OPPO India, we look at it, if you have just X amount of launches that you can do in a year, okay, what does you don't want to be tone deaf to the country you live in, right? So you want to get products that people will actually like and will actually use, and they actually need.
Have you been to Lajpat Nagar?
In Lajpat, I haven't been to Lajpat Nagar.
वहाँ पे हर दूसरा इंसान एक फ्लिप फोन लेके घूम रहा होता है, चटकीले कलर के अंदर.
चटकीले कलर के अंदर. So probably when we'll talk about flip, the next time we'll look at chatkila colors as one of our colors that we put on the box. Chatkila color.
Chatkila blue.
We did the flip. We did the flip later than some other brands, and we did it well, right? And we saw in terms of the market also, right? There's also basically feedback that you get. You will find probably Lajpat Nagar, a whole bunch of people are actually carrying it. But then if our market was only Lajpat Nagar, then we would probably get it out, right?
There was also a report by ET recently which said that customers are not primarily buying a phone on the basis of promise of AI. I mean, it's a report at the end of the day. There's no point trying to, find some flaws in it. But I also think that there is a need to educate the customer also. See, I'll just give you practical, मेरा जो understanding है कि 10-15 साल से हम लोग स्मार्टफोन्स यूज़ कर रहे हैं, हम लोगों को एक तरीका पता है उसको यूज़ करने का. अब उसके अंदर AI ला रहे हैं, वी टेंड टू फॉरगेट इंट्यूटिवली कि उसके अंदर है. सो हाउ डज ओप्पो गो ऑन टू एजुकेट द कस्टमर कि AI यूज़ करो हमारे पास में ये सारे XYZ फीचर्स हैं. इज देयर एनी प्रैक्टिकल सेंस दैट यू आर ऑल्सो पुटिंग इनटू देम बाय गिविंग देम एग्जांपल्स कि यू नो दिस इज हाउ इट विल एक्चुअली मेक योर लाइफ ईजियर?
Fantastic you asked me this question because I talk to people like you who then talk to people like them. Remember that line I spoke about communication?
मैं बीच में पढ़ता हूँ.
Yes. So when you're saying how do you communicate to people? AI is something that people are using, right? Since a year ago or 2 years ago, people were introduced to ChatGPT. Right? And they were using it on their laptops and things like this. Why should it not be on this form factor? Right? If this is the only device that you're carrying everywhere, why should it not be? And if this is the only electronic device that they have, and they don't have a laptop and stuff, why should they not be able to use these generative AI features or see what it is? Right? A lot of kids have these devices. Do they have laptops? They don't. They might probably have an older smartphone. Our phones are durable, so probably when their parents pass it on, they will have a phone with AI. They're 12, they'll probably play some games with it and then they'll explore, right? And imagine that kid now, when he's 23 and 24, he's already spent 10 years with AI, seen where it's going. And then maybe later on, when the guy is buying the phone, AI will be the tip of the spear, that this is exactly what I want for my device first, AI first, right? And AI also plays other roles. It's not just basically what you want. Hardware has limitations.
Of course.
Right? There's hardware has limitations. You will not get those kind of long lens like you have on your cameras right now to focus and things like this.
AI तो काम आएगा उसमें, correct?
Exactly.
And we have been using that since 2016.
Right. So whether it is recognizing faces, whether it's recognizing faces, skin tones, that's machine learning, that's AI that's happening. Whether you want something to generate quick summaries, that's AI. Students, for instance, right? You go into long lectures. If I know a lot of people who in professional courses, where you get fried at the end of the day, so they started carrying dictaphones, and then dictaphones recording an entire lecture and then making those little points. Now it's something like this. You just put it on, record it, and then you can create a summary out of it. I mean, how fantastic is that?
True.
Right? So do they want it right now? Do they know they want it? Probably not. But to say that because people are saying this, or because someone wrote a story on it, that AI is not going to happen, I think so that would be, I don't think so that would be a very accurate representation of what AI can do and will do for us in the future.
I think the paranoia about AI is also going down. पहले लग रहा था नौकरी खा जाएगा ये वो, but these days, I mean, Satya Nadella put it in a very interesting way. He said that AI is raising the platform and lowering the ceiling of productivity. And I think AI to an extent does that. It removes that need for an intern for you to do mundane tasks.
Exactly. And so AI will take away the grunt work, right? You have to understand this also. AI can only be trained on what humans have already done.
Exactly.
Right? If I want my AI to write like PG Woodhouse, I would need for a PG Woodhouse to exist before
in
that.
The first place.
Right? So you can't take away from that. If I want to ask AI, like I've written something and I say, make it brief and concise like Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway had to exist. Right? So I don't think so that AI is going to take away and destroy Ernest Hemingway's life if he was still alive, right? I think so it's definitely going to help.
Now, I also want to ask you one thing. Why is there no gaming phone from OPPO? G series लेके आओ यार.
Like, why is there no gaming phone?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we'll take this back to our people and ask the same question. Right?
Please do let them know.
Yeah, we'll tell them
it
about...
It would be really dope to
so we'll say, like, maybe we need to get into gaming. Right? OPPO is a brand that, never say never. So, if there's a need for a gaming phone,
why not, right? I've also observed one thing, that OPPO products tend to sell well despite the fact that they have a premium attached to them compared to some of the competitors. Now that's not primarily a bad thing, as long as... So what is the psyche that goes behind these decisions?
Actually, I would go the other way around, and it's it's good you've asked me this question, because now I get to address it and I hope people actually see this. Yes, you're talking about one thing, you're talking about cost of acquisition, right? But what you have to also factor in is the rate of depreciation, right? So for instance, if you buy a phone for say 20,000, okay, you buy a phone for 20,000, but your battery lasts you for 2.5 years, So that means you have to apply depreciation. By the end of 2.5 years, your value of the phone is 0. Suppose in 2 years, your phone starts charging only 60%, then you have to get rid of it. Or that's the reason for you to change your phone. Which means you spend 20,000 and for each year 10,000 matlab uska value gaya hai.
Correct.
Right? For you as a user who spent money.
Right.
But now suppose if I give you a phone that is basically say 22,000, okay, but that battery lasts you 4 years. Now you do the math. Is it 10,000 every year? No, it's 4 years. 22 divided by 4. Correct?
Longevity.
Yes, it's longevity. Now the choice is in your hand whether you want to change the phone. It's not forced upon you. Right? So if you want to continue using the same phone, I've continued using the same phone because it works well for me. I've used it for 4 years. I don't need to change it. It does what I need to do. So that's what it is. I'm not forcing, the customer's not forced to upgrade.
So recently you had a big launch, Reno 13 series.
Yes.
It was perceived very well by us because of all the nice AI features. But that also brings me to the point कि कुछ 5 साल हो गए, and I still remember the first Reno was really cool. The green color, that shark fin, pop-up camera. How would you reflect upon the journey of this particular series?
So I have the device right here with me, right? I think so the needs of the customer, like I said, I go back to that. It might sound like a broken record that we're going back to the needs of the customer, the needs of the customer. When I look at this, what makes this device different from the other ones, right? The durability factor is one. Like I said, we know what we want to do and we are keeping on that course, right? When we talk about it, so the first time around you have like a metal frame to it. It has that armor body. We introduced basically IP68 and 69 before. This time around, we've actually gone in a little bit deeper.
Armor architecture.
Armor architecture, that is like uses it actually borrows from nature, uses how sponge is and creates that kind of stuff, right? And not only that, like this phone right now, you can actually go underwater and click pictures with it, right? So does it have a shark fin? Maybe not, right? Because shark fin has moving parts.
I miss it, yeah.
We will see if we have something in our museums. But for us right now, when we're looking at this kind of a device, right, battery has always been our thing, right? We've made sure that the battery right now is thinner, in a slimmer form factor, and it fits into that device. Cameras have always been our thing.
You were the first to implement the periscope mechanism.
Yes, so we have that. We have those cameras. The same algorithms that have been developed on our higher end devices have come over here. Generative AI. Okay, whatever you need in terms of AI for productivity, whatever you didn't even see in devices about a year ago, right? I've been in OPPO for like a little over 3 years, and on the face of it might look like a simple device, but the stuff that it's packing in right now, right, in terms of AI, in terms of what you can do with it, there's a lot of stuff that's going into making a device like this, right? It might look like one thing, and then of course, giving this, I mean, this is an India specific color.
What's it called again?
This one is, I don't know what it's called. It's called luminous blue. Thank you so much. So it's called luminous blue. This guy just tried to set me up. I have different names for devices. I call people also by different names, Rahul. So, so yeah, I mean, when we talk about these kind of things, right? So it's definitely a step up. Okay. Charging has improved over that, definitely. The build quality has definitely improved. The software features have definitely improved. This is a fantastic device. And
my favorite feature is that reflection remover thing. I haven't seen any other.
Fantastic. I mean, later on off camera, I'll show you pictures I clicked of tigers from behind a glass. But then I got the reflection removed out, and so it looks like I was like standing in front of it. It didn't happen, but it was
it's really cool.
Glass.
Like the use cases that you have come up with, like really clever, functional at the same time, and they work reliably as well. And the best thing is it also works on older photos as well.
Yes.
Like the entire gallery.
Yes. So basically, if you've clicked a picture with another camera that's not as good from the other brand, we've covered.
What a marketing pitch!
It's not a marketing pitch. I mean, it's a factual thing. I mean, I've done it with older pictures. So, I mean, I have pictures from here as back as 2014. I've applied features to it. I'm looking so much more nicer.
We're going to revive those photos of you.
Yeah. Those.
Okay, now let's just wrap things up by understanding what is it that OPPO is focusing on for the rest of the year. It's just start of the year now. January is coming to an end as of now. Edit karte hue 1 mahina lagega. Just kidding. What is it that you guys want us to be looking forward to?
So basically, again, like I said, cameras have always been our thing. So you can expect to see a whole bunch of camera technologies, whether it comes in our algorithms or it's AI, which brings me to AI. Right, we are one of the few partners that have been, working very closely with Google on, generative AI and things like this. Plus, we have our own AI algorithms that we've actually put on the phone. So AI is definitely going to be one of the things that you can see. Durability. We have committed to durability right now. Right, it's make great phones, not enough. Make great phones that last longer. Right, that's it. And to go in line with durability, of course, battery technologies. You can't look at one without looking at the other. So battery technologies have always going to be something that we, it's not what people think is sexy tech, but it is something, if as long as it's working, you won't realize it. When it doesn't work, then you have a pain point. So for us, we've taken it upon ourselves. You don't realize it, batteries, and you will see that across the line in different ways.
All right, then. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
You really have a way of explaining things. And I love listening to you.
That's a very polite way of saying I speak too much, but no, thank you.
There's no such thing. But yeah, it was a blast here. I got to learn so many things from you.
Thank you so much for actually taking the time.
Absolutely. And you guys keep following us because there are a lot more such interviews coming up on the channel. So make sure you subscribe and following MySmartPrice.
Yeah, whatever he said.